All right. Well, that was the latest from the files. Paul Heyman. Again, we'll have more about that. Anything else before we continue on with my show?
I pulled another document out of the drawer, and I had forgotten until I see that. I know I did it because it's in my handwriting. And so now that I see it, I remember doing it, and I don't have a date on it, but I'm assuming it is somewhere in and around 1997, and I want to see if you can help me narrow it down by some of the comments I'm making. But they asked me as part of what was I part of at this point in time? The establishment, the producers, the former member of the creative team, whatever the fuck I may have been on at the time, opinions on some of the talent in the WWF at the time. And I want, for the people who think that I have just, in my old age, become cranky and negative, I wanted to throw some of this out there.
If this is 97, I think you were on the creative team that whole year, weren't you?
Well, I guess so. I was thinking I was off creative, but no, I was on creative until the end of 97. So yes, as a member of the creative team and a producer and potentially at the time an on-camera talent and announcer and whatever the fuck else I was doing. And this is not, I don't remember what the impetus for me commenting on these people was, because it's specifically these people and not the whole talent roster. So I'm assuming that these were the people, and when you hear some of the names, you'll probably figure it out, that they were bobbling on the fence about and wanted to get multiple opinions on. Or had no direction for, or what do we do with this guy or whatever. And this is why these people were being commented on. But would you like to hear some of this shit?
I'd love to hear this.
Oh yeah, you just want to hear all kinds of dirt on people. No, it seems like that some people think that I put on airs, Brian, on the show these days when I give people my opinions. And that certainly to God, he really wasn't always like this. So I just wanted to see if I sound any different when I'm opining on people from almost 30 years ago. And number one, Tiger Ali Singh.
Oh my God.
And bear in mind, this is going to Vince McMahon and also the creative establishment and the upper echelon of producers and whatever the fuck. And they've asked, what do you think? Now, this ain't going out as a goddamn newsletter to the company. So I'm supposed to tell them what I really think. This guy is a heat-seeking missile. I'm not talking about the fucking performer. I'm talking about the individual. His work is not horrible. He can certainly get better, but only if he is made to realize he has a long way to go. He has convinced the whole crew he thinks he's a star, and I think he needs to be told in no uncertain terms he is not and may never be unless his attitude improves. I don't know that he's being a jerk on purpose, but he has that reputation. A lot of people saying it. His father needs to be made to realize his son has a lot, that's in capitals, to learn, as that may be where part of the problem lies.
Oh, stop right there. Like someone's going to call up Tiger Gene Singh and say, hey, Tiger, we got a problem with your kid and it's your fault.
Well, I'm just, they said, what do you think of these people?
It's easy to say this when he's not near you with his saber, isn't it?
Hey, when fucking Terry Taylor told me, Jim, start sending in critiques of the TV show in TNA in 2009. I said, do you want me to be honest, or you want me to say what, somebody wants to hear? Who's the audience? No, we want to hear what you really think. And they fired me 6 weeks later.
Where's that document?
I think I've got those. I don't have them printed out. I've got those still on my computer, I think. I'll have to print some of those out sometime. Because I got the computer that in March of that year, I think, nevertheless, back to Tiger Ali. Get rid of the Iron Sheik at ringside, as it tells people Tiger is a goof and a comedy figure. Dump the Canadian flag. Remember because he was from Toronto, they were having him wave the Canadian flag. This is a long document. So I'm not going to read every word of all of these, but teach him to sell like a heel because nobody is going to buy this guy as a tough guy with all the physical specimens we've got around here. The rest is up to him. Okay, to tell me.
You were right.
This
By the way, that all bared out being, I mean, I don't know about the father being the root of the problem, although you're not the only person to say that, but everything you said was true.
Okay, well, Rick Bogner, remember, he was fake Razor.
Oh, yeah, Big Titan.
They had signed him and done that, and that apparently was on the downhill slide because I'm calling him Rick Bogner. And the first time I'd ever fucking heard of the whole thing was when he became fake Razor. But as Rick Bogner, he's not horrible. He's not as good as 10 guys I can name immediately that are not working here. He's done some dumb things, but so have a lot of people. I can't remember what the dumb things were that they were mad at him for doing. If his contract is just about up, I see no reason to renew. Okay, here's another time.
Again, I hate to say it, you don't want anyone to lose their job, but you weren't wrong when it came to Rick Bogner. Other than the stuff he did in Japan, Team go Mike Awesome and then Fake Razor, did he ever do anything ever again?
I don't. He was he lived in Canada for a while. I know that.
He's got that going for him.
Here's another time narrower, Darren Drozdov. No comment as yet. He's never had a match in front of people. So I'd seen his workouts and everybody knew he was, a great physical specimen, but as far as it was too early. Flash Funk. You remember Flash? Does everybody know that Flash Funk was Too Cold Scorpio when Rick James and Sly Stone had a baby? They signed Too Cold Scorpio after he was there at WCW, whatever it was. And Vince tells us, yeah, he's going to be Flash Funk. And I thought he was kind of kidding. And then I was like, was he going to be a member of the Funk family with Dory and Terry? Flash Funk ended up being, Brian, as you'll recall, Rick James with the Funkettes, because Vince, I don't know what the fuck. And, that's one of the times I learned not to see a joke to Vince sometimes because he would like the joke for real. And, they actually did call and find out if fucking, what was her goddamn name? Aunt Esther on Sanford and Son. She was going to do a fucking day because I said, would you have Aunt Esther from Sanford and Son do whatever the fuck on the pay-per-view? And they actually called her agent.
Are you serious? I never heard that.
I'm serious as a fucking heart attack. And by that time she was too ill she wasn't doing these things or anything. I don't know. But I said, what the fuck is Vince Pop for it? I mean, no, So anyway, here's what I said about Flash Funk. He's got a ton of talent. He didn't carry the ball with this gimmick very well, but we didn't give him a lot of help trying to soft pedal Vince's ideas. It suggested he be encouraged to drop a few pounds because they were thinking he was a little bit portly. But how about do an angle with one of the Nation members ripping his funky clothes and stomping his feathered hat and call him names and then have him come out and thank them. And they were right. And that was stupid. And I'm Too Cold Scorpio and I'm going to kick your fucking ass.
Yeah, I would have liked that.
They didn't do that.
See, that's the problem. I was a big fan of Too Cold Scorpio, at least until he stopped wearing pants. When he came out in trunks, it didn't work as well. But no, Too Cold Scorpio was awesome in WCW. And he was gone pretty quickly. He was gone by 94. For Vince to bring him in and give him just a goofy, that's along the lines, I know it's a little bit after, it's along the lines of the TL Hopper and that kind of stuff. Just an unnecessary gimmick. And it was so hammy. The idea that this guy we've been seeing on TV, WCW had a lot of viewers. This guy that we were seeing on TV is all of a sudden out there in this outfit. It was ridiculous.
I can only assume that this footage, because it burned in my memory, but it would have been a meme over the past few years. But Flash Funk's first night at a TV tape, he was doing a dark match. They didn't have any music for him yet. And the music they had, oh God almighty, that they ended up using for him, that wasn't any favors either. But as I got some music for him, I went out in the car and got my actually Rick James cassette, and they played Love Gun for him to come to the ring. And here comes Vince is going to ringside. As they hit this, he doesn't realize he walks out right as they hit the fucking music. And so the footage, what we got for the first part of the entrance before Flash came out was Vince in his own discombobulated way trying to dance to the funk of Rick James all the way down the aisle to the ring. It looked like a disconnected bucket of body parts.
He was like a male Elaine Bennis.
Yes, it was. But anyway, that's the only night that Flash Funk ever had good music. Anyway, hold on, Eric Watts. He's a fine young man, and I wish him all the best in finding another career to pursue.
God damn.
That was...
You know, what was he doing in 97? Because Techno Team 2000 was it a year and a half earlier? Was it 95?
Well, see, remember, these are people that may or have been on contract, whatever was happening with them. They were on contract. So these contracts maybe have been coming up. What do? We need ideas or opinions. Poor Brackus. You remember Brackus, Occam Albrecht, a great guy, that physique. It was amazing. He was so green and he couldn't loosen up. I'm not going to bury him. Justin Bradshaw. Remember, at this point, he had been made one of the new Blackjacks with Barry Windham, and they had dyed their hair jet black, looked like Bill Dundee after a trip to the hairdresser.
Yeah, I guess I was about to say, did they already do that by then? Because he was Justin Hawk Bradshaw, but 97, yeah, I guess he would have already done that.
Well, yes, because they're right here, and I refer to it, so I know they've already done this at this point, but yeah, they were because I don't know if I've told everybody in a while, but Smoky Mountain Wrestling, John Layfield, Justin Hawk Bradshaw had been writing and sending me pictures and videotapes for about a year. And finally I say, you know what? I said, we need a new baby face. Okay. And I'd said, okay, I'm going to book you starting Christmas week. And we closed up after Thanksgiving. So he was almost booked there, but I liked his gimmick that he was doing at the time. He was just a wild ass. He was more Stan Hansen than he was one of the Blackjacks or anything, but he was himself, right?
That's he had been wrestling for the GWF, so it was on ESPN still, and no one watched it. But he was kind of like there's no other comparison, a modern Stan Hansen, even though not to the level of Stan Hansen.
Yeah, so Justin Bradshaw, I see him as a wild, screaming, goofy, raw-boned Texan, which is what he is, doing angle with a top heel where he kicks the shit out of Bradshaw and have Bradshaw come back and beat him and then give him a bunch of interviews that he'll be a big baby face. And, you know, the name, he could keep the black leather, but let his hair go back natural, bring back his beard, and lose his partner, ... which comes to the next guy. But point being, they ended up, except his hair was still jet black or whatever. That's kind of like the APA, right? With him and Simmons.
I can't get past lose the partner, considering who the partner is. I can't wait to hear that.
Well, but hold on. But that was the thing, is that they weren't giving him a chance to be himself, and that fucking, just the goofy outfit, the whole 9 yards. Barry Windham. That said, unfortunately, it seems time or whatever have somewhat eroded BW's skills. Does his style not work these days? And he was not one of the best, but potentially could he be hospitalized by the heel that we might turn Bradshaw with? I mean, basically, is this couple of sentences that I'm making or that I'm writing here, in that it doesn't seem Barry wasn't, by that point, it wasn't going to happen. He couldn't do in that crowded field in 1997 with a lot of top athletes what he could do in 1987 when he was better than most all of them. But anyway, that's, but I had to be, I liked him, but had to be honest.
Well, that's the problem. After 94, it's almost impossible to name a good Barry Windham match, or when I say good, just a match that's memorable, a match that you're like, wow, Barry Windham's awesome. And 94 is even a stretch. That was his comeback at like Slamboree. But his knees were already messed up by that point.
Yeah.
The Stalker, the Blackjacks, like, he was there and you remember him being there, but can you remember like one moment or one match?
No.
Apparently not. Yes.
Anyway, moving on real quickly. Fatu. And let's remember, this is before Rikishi. But this was after the Head Shrinkers, I can't remember, were they the Samoan SWAT team there at one point, but they were the Head Shrinkers. He was the Sultan.
Did he already do the thing where he was like, whatever it was, like, he's coming back from the streets to help kids, whatever that was?
No, he hadn't done that one yet. No, I think he's the Sultan. He's the Sultan here now. Because anyway, listen, and again, later on is a different person. It was fine, but right at this point, I said the people are just plain sick and tired of looking at this fucking guy. Enough is enough. He has the same match over and over. Multiple gimmicks. Use the investment made in him to get some of the babyface roster over, and for God's sake, please get rid of the Iron Sheik.
Jesus.
Well, it's just,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's just something hearing these evaluations all these years later.
Doug Furnace and Phil LaFon, bless them.
Huh.
I can't. I'm saying bring them back, so that means they were out. Was this after that car wreck they were in with Sid?
Depends on what time in 97 it was. I'm not sure.
Sid, they were riding in a car with Sid, and Sid, while going apparently 100 miles an hour in proximity of, more or less, wanted to adjust the fucking moonroof, and after they flipped a few times, everybody was fucked up in the ditch. But remember, Vince McMahon had not had previous knowledge of Doug Furnace and Phil LaFon, nor any attachment to him whatsoever, and they were a little too wrestling-like for his taste, just because at the time they were one of the best in-ring tag teams in the world. Furnace was the fucking freak athlete. LaFon had injuries. It was not a sparkling example of charisma, but Doug was a beast, and I don't know why Vince didn't gravitate to him because of the body and the athleticism. But nevertheless, they're trying to be ready, and part of it was because Shitstain, the other V word, it couldn't stand these guys because they were athletes and he didn't know what to fucking do with them. So he was, constantly pecking at him. But this was at a point in time. When did Rude leave? Rick Rude.
That would have been after the Bret Hart thing. So that would have been the very end, December? Would have been December or the end of November?
Okay, then he was still there because they were wanting to make him the figurehead of some type of group. I don't know if they were going to call him manager or whatever the fuck, but for the brief period of time, there was some creative there. So I said, bring him back as Rick Rude's Thugs. Hired muscle for his insurance agency. I can't remember.
Lloyd's of London?
Well, some of these jokes went around to Lloyd's of London. But are these his collection men? If people don't pay the premiums, that may have been an idea that was being floated. I wrote, Furnace is years better than LaFawn. Have Rude do their promos and dress them in clothes and make them look menacing. They were wearing some kind of odd gear to the ring. And I said, and again, Furnace is more long term. And I don't know if they did come back ever. Anyway, a couple more here. Hold on. Mark Marrow, would you like to hear this?
Yeah, did you always hate him? Let's find out.
Well, hold on. First thing in capital letters, because remember, this is handwritten. I turn these things in if the kind ladies in the office wanted to type them. It was up to them. Get him away from Sable! Exclamation point. She's a bigger reason why he's not over than his own lack of psychology. No one notices he's there. No one understands why Babyface is coming out with a woman. They weren't heels who switched like Goldust and Marlena. Marlena fits the package because they understand why she's there. Have Marrow say that he took, this is while he's injured. Say he took stock while injured and decided to concentrate on his career instead of his woman. Expand on the new tough guy boxer image if possible. So that's when they started making him a boxer. Anyway, I said to keep an intense attitude and have him do soft-spoken but intense interviews to detract or hide his high-pitched voice. I mean, what the,
Dusty Rhodes was a booking genius, and his idea was, let's make him into Little Richard.
Well, yes, and that's the only thing he could ever fucking do. Because he was Little Richard.
Oh, hush, Jim.
Well, shut your mouth. Because I got an equal time now. You want to hear Sable?
Oh, I didn't know I had to answer that. Everyone wants to hear what you said about Sable. Yes.
Well, yes, so I wasn't going to. Well, I just won't do it now if you didn't really jump on that. Nobody's interested.
Everyone wants to hear. I think Brock's listening right now.
Here is the quote. T-shirt model, ring girl, sell her T-shirts and posters just as long as she is never allowed to speak in that high school drama class dropout monotone again.
So who would have been most upset about you writing that? Would it have been Vince or Kevin Dunn or Russo? Like, who was most invested in Sable at that point?
Well, I don't think Vince would have been upset, truthfully and honestly, except if I really skewered one of his pet ideas and just took the piss out of it page after page. Vince wouldn't have been upset if I'd have written about his own family. So-and-so the shits on TV, because he looked at all of it dispassionately. But fucking Russo was in multiple eras and multiple companies despised when they would ask me anything about my opinion. And that's why he immediately tried to discredit it as soon as he showed up anywhere, because he knew what it was going to fucking be. Because as you can tell, it doesn't often change over the decades. And Kevin Dunn hated anything that I said because it was me, like me and him. But Vince McMahon, you could say any goddamn thing. He didn't give a shit from a getting mad point of view when you're doing this, right? He was as cold as ice about that stuff. Okay, Rockabilly and Jesse James. We're going to close it out here.
Oh, is this the end of it, or that's where you're closing it out?
Yeah, well, no, that's the end of, Honky Tonk Man. And I said, Honky Tonk is a huge name. I don't think people are seriously buying the gimmick anymore as anything but garnish. I thought it said garish for a second there. I could figure out what it was. Anything but it was always garish, garnish. Can he make a good Colin comment?
Can he make a good Colin? That motherfucker.
A good colon commentator.
Colin is a colon.
See, it's the end of the thing, and my writing is, Can he make a good color commentator if he talked about himself a little less? But it's a hell of a commute from Phoenix, right? But do on sale ticket appearances, PR appearances, because people can that's when they were trying to shoehorn him in as a manager, still doing his whole deal. And he was the manager of Rockabilly, who was Billy Gunn. This is pre-Degeneration X, okay? As you'll see by my comments, this is when Billy Gunn was Rockabilly, and Road Dogg, Brian Armstrong, was Jesse James. And the joke was that when we booked them against each other in the opening match on the card, who does the job? Because they can't beat anybody, either one of them, right? They were completely burying them. So, and I wasn't real happy with that because I've always been a fan of the Armstrong family. But nevertheless, Rockabilly and Jesse James, I say keep these guys off TV completely for 3 to 4 months to get the bad taste out of people's mouths. Then reintroduce them as an old-fashioned bumping heel tag team with a new age look and push them. They need to beat people to get credibility and do angles to get heat. Both are excellent promos. Get them matching tights or jackets or something, because you remember at first what Rockabilly looked like, especially when he was with Honky Tonk. But they have a real cocky attitude, especially Billy. Have Midnight Express style tag team work, take big bumps on the babyface's comeback, but at the same time, be more modern. Jesse James, has used the name New Age Outlaw on his 900 number promos. Maybe that's a team name. I forgot I'd written this.
Wow.
Until I'm looking at this today. They should have a team name, but definitely keep their individual names. Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, Road Dogg had been, poor Jesse James had been the roadie for Jeff Jarrett. So,
which worked, by the way. That worked, and they built up.
Worked also.
They actually did a good job of building up to wanting to see the roadie finally get his hands on Jeff Jarrett for the way he was treated, and then they both left.
And they both left all at the same time. But nevertheless, individual names with a tag team name is what I was, and also, and finally, keep them away from Shawn Michaels and his attitude poisoning ways, and let them stand on their own, because they were starting to hang around in that group.
Nothing about Triple H or The Rock, because they were still on the way up. 97.
Well, no, because there wasn't any question about whether or not they were going to keep them or what they wanted to do with them. These were the guys that was on the fence here. You can tell there was no point in time where Triple H or The Rock or whatever, we're going to fire them. But anyway, and Road Dogg and Billy, these guys may be a year away from it, but they could be tag team champions and draw money if we dedicate ourselves to rebuilding.
That's fascinating. That specific one, the fact that you dropped New Age early on, you pointed out that.
Well, but it wasn't mine, because Brian Armstrong had been saying that they did that bogus ass 900 number where you had to do some type of programming, the talent. I did some segments for a while, blah, blah, blah. And he was starting to call himself, I'm the New Age Outlaw. So, and Brian's always had personality. So I was just referencing what he was already doing, but nobody was paying attention to what he was fucking doing. But it seemed catchy.
Well, it's interesting hearing that. So I guess of those people, how Tiger Ali Singh ended up staying like another year, right? Was he there through 98?
Well, see, I can't remember exactly because they sent him to Puerto Rico, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Which was under the guise of, well, we're working with the Puerto Rican promotion and you're in developmental, so we'll send you down here to get experience. But really it's like, just go away. We got to fulfill our thing, but go away.
It's just so interesting, that one, and your notes about it, considering, Tiger Jeet Singh was a big star.
Huge, but only
in Toronto and Japan.
Toronto, Japan, and Detroit.
Yeah, that's right.
And Detroit because he was like the antithesis of the Sheik, so they could have the matter-antimatter fucking confrontation.
Now let me ask you, I'll ask you the question I asked about Barry Windham from 97 and 90, or from 95 to 97. I'll ask the same thing about Tiger Jeet Singh forever. Can you name one good Tiger Jeet Singh match?
No, he was fucking rotten. Fucking rotten, as Rip Rogers would say.
So Tiger Ali Singh grows up watching his dad, that's his idol, thinking that's the way a wrestler wrestles. And Tiger Jeet Singh is thinking, this is my son, of course he's going to be a star.
Well, but Tiger Ali Singh wasn't even trying to do, because he understood enough to know that you couldn't do the what is the Tiger Jeet Singh version of the Sheik's gimmick, just wild all over the building with a fucking sword and everything in the WWF, but he fancied himself a tremendous athlete and premier worker and personality also.
Tiger Jeet Singh is on that list for me of guys that when I saw their pictures in magazines, they looked incredible. Like, oh my God, yes. Chaos everywhere around this guy. And then when I actually saw him wrestle, like him in a Noki, it was terrible. It was the worst shit ever.
And the thing is, he legitimately became a successful and rich businessman and multimillionaire and lived in a mansion in Ontario, wherever it was outside Toronto.
Wasn't there a school named after him?
Yes. He gave money to, I'm not trying to be facetious. I don't know what his particular religious delineation or denomination is, but it's some type of, is it the Sikhs potentially?
Possibly. I'm not sure either, so I can't say.
Well, but nevertheless, there are a lot of his like-minded religious folk brethren of whatever denomination it is, I'm told, in Ontario and in that province. And he became a big deal in Toronto. And the reason why also in Japan, because, you had a different style of the Sheik. The Sheik had gotten over, but there wasn't only one Sheik to go around. Here came Tiger Jeet Singh. Instead of a pencil, he's got a sword, and it's a takeoff, but it's still the same thing. And he was for Inoki while Sheik was for Baba. And then at the same time, Tiger Jeet Singh drew money in Detroit because of his the style was like the Sheik, so it fit in the territory, and then they could clash also. But what I'm trying to say is, besides overseas in Japan, in Ontario for years, and the Sheik's Detroit, where did Tiger Jeet Singh ever even wrestle in the United States, much less be on top?
That's a great question.
Have I missed it completely?
He worked Toronto, but he never went to Mid-Atlantic and worked any shows that I could think of. Didn't work Florida. No. I can't think of...
Never in Georgia, never in Texas, never California. He became some kind of wealthy fucking entrepreneur from being over in goddamn 3 places in the world. Somebody's got to study that.
Move over, Johnny Powers.
Yeah. Well, fuck Cleveland.
Well, there was also Buffalo. But anyway, this is my show, and this has been a fine first edition
would you like to? Can I read one more thing here real quick? This is just something, this is off topic. This was in my files also, because I said they're not orchestrated very well, but this is a letter that I wrote to someone that I would just like to read to you, because again, people think that I'm putting on some kind of goddamn charade when I'm on these broadcasts. And I want to let people know that I'm consistent in my viewpoints. It's a letter from me that I just kept a copy of. I don't actually know who it went to. And I had typed it out, so I know I was pissed. To whom it may concern, recently you sent me a bill for $131.89. I paid this bill with a check for $131.88 and mailed it to you. Yes, I accidentally wrote the check for 1 penny less than the amount of the bill. Instead of cashing this check and calling it even, since there was only 1 penny difference, or even cashing the check, applying the amount to the bill owed, and sending me another bill for 1 penny, someone in your office sent everything back to me. Check, bill, even the envelope I mailed it in, with a letter requesting I send a replacement check as soon as possible. Quote unquote. You spent 38 cents on your postage meter to ask me for 1 penny, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, and you expect me to void the original check, rebalance my checkbook, write another check, and spend another 44 cents on a stamp to mail it back to you for 1 penny. So here's how we're going to handle it. I have enclosed a new check for the amount of the original bill, $131.89, minus the 44 cents I had to spend on the second stamp because of this foolishness, or a total of $131.45. You can do one of two things. You can cash this check and call it even before it goes any further, or you can refer this account to a collection agency over 44 cents, because I guarantee you this is the last payment you're going to get from me. I advise you to take this money because we have already spent way too much time on this. No wonder you rape people on the prices of any medical procedure if this is the stupid way you people spend money and do business. Signed, me.
That's a classic.
Never heard another word, so apparently they chose option A.
That is ridiculous. I mean, good for you, because I don't think most people would point that out to them. I mean, at the time, for no attention. It wasn't like you did this and put it on social media. That's ridiculous. And did they? You don't know?
I got a whole bunch of letters I've written to people. Over the years. Letters to Pests is the file somewhere. I remember that file. It's in there in a stack. But it's your show.
It is my show, and again, the first of many installments of Jim's letters and Jim's talent evaluations. But Jim, on the topic of talent evaluations, sometimes you gotta give a talent a good kick in the ass. Sometimes it's to get them out of your office or out of your company. Sometimes, well, let's just focus on those times, because those are more reasonable. And sometimes you just want to go outside and kick the dirt. And sometimes you got to work in the dirt. It's a dirty business, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a dirty business, working in dirt.
Dirty business, and business that is yours requires the right footwear, a secure footwear. And Jim,
how about a lifeline?
Jim, oh, that's not even what I thought it was. I was on the wrong thing. Can I have a lifeline? Can I phone a friend?
Yes, if you would, I'll just take the tag. Here, tag. Folks, I'll tell you what Brian's trying to say is if you want to slop around in the mud like the Kentucky Derby winner did this year, it kept poor journalism out of finishing first, then you need some work boots from Brunt and our new friends at Brunt that have made the greatest footwear that has ever encased your little tootsies. If your dogs are barking after a day on the job, after a day out working outside in the great wild beyond, and you need to put them in the tub of water and the cartoon steam comes up and the toes are going whop, 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 and all that other stuff. Well, the folks at BruntWorkwear.com, who are our new friends, as I said, are going to take care of you, because me and Brian both, and I don't know how much work you do, Brian, but I do know that you give people motivational kicks in the ass. And if you're going to kick somebody in the ass, folks, you need either the Marin or the Omen work boot. They each have their individual functions and strong points from Brunt. We got the Marins. And I'll tell you what, it will protect your toes, Brian. If you've got to kick somebody in the ass, you don't want to do that unprotected, because not only do you might know where that ass has been, but also you might break your toe. And you ain't going to do that in these boots, because they are not only sturdy, but lightweight, waterproof, slip and oil resistant, heat resistant. They're electrical hazard rated. Although I don't want to really stick my finger in a light socket and find out for sure. I'm going to take their word for it on that. But I'll tell you what, they are slip resistant, Brian. You can bat climb up a wall on these things straight upside and not slip. Did you climb your walls yet? You've been climbing the walls up there for a while now since you moved into the new house and had all the kids.
I don't climb the walls, but I have to say these are the finest work boots I've ever had, and I plan to put them to good use.
Going around watching all the gardeners you've got do the work. I'm the one outside. I'm mucking through the creek. As a matter of fact, I wish it would quit raining where I could put these boots on that I just got and go out there and enjoy them. And then now they're waterproof. They'd be just fine, but I don't want to stand out in the fucking rain. But if you're working in mud, these things ain't going to slip. You can keep your footing about you. They're water resistant for the creek, and they feel like you are slipping your feet into pillows and just wrapping your feet with bubble wrap. It's amazingly comfortable. They don't wear, especially on my bunion. My bunion sticks out, so I get a sore spot on that. But anyway, folks, whether it's rain, mud, or standing water, your feet are going to stay dry. As a matter of fact, get a couple pair and stick one of these sumbitches over your head. That way your head could stay dry. You know, they smell good, too.
It doesn't work like that, but for your feet,
they've got it.
For your feet.
You know, they've got good built-in odor eaters. Some people are going to disappear completely.
I don't know that, and you don't know that, and that's not the way it is. But these are great work boots. They are great. I don't know what else.
Yes.
I love them.
Well,
and they add a few inches to your height if you're feeling insecure about how short you are.
That's another thing. Now, if you go outside and you find somebody digging a hole in your front yard, then if you're wearing these, you've automatically got an extra inch on them, so you look more intimidating. And if they try to get out of that hole before you're ready for them, you can kick them right up under the jaw and bam.
Well, let's focus.
Boy, that'll adjust their opinion.
Let's focus on activities that don't hurt or cause others.
I'm just telling you, if you plan to kick somebody up under the chin, these are the best boots to wear. But it's not just about work boots at Brunt's or at Brunt or the people at Brunt's, plural, possessive. They offer a full range of high performance gear, heavy duty work pants, weather resistant jackets, all kinds of stuff that you can try any of their products on the job. And they are guaranteed, and they carry 100% satisfaction guarantee there, for heaven's sake, because they carry the names of real workers in the trades who test and inspire them. That's why you have them named after like Marin and Omen, not like, I don't know, asshole and dipshit. Clubfoot is not one of them. No, but it should be. It should be because, you know, the people who have a foot shorter than the other or a leg shorter than the other, they ought to be able to get these built special for them. Maybe there's a place you can go at bruntworkwear.com and determine whether you can get a loaded wrestling boot out of that.
Let's focus on what they have, and what they have are great boots and other great items for your working experience. They have hats.
Yes.
They sent me a nice hat. I'm a big fan.
You can tell you've done a lot of hard work. If you're out there, if you're changing the oil, you're on the workshop floor, if you're out there in the muddy farm field, if you're mucking in the creek, if you got to wade into the cow shit area in order to get juniors football out of the thing, whatever the case, if you're out in the country, folks, if you're a real mid-America heartland type of guy that's going to have a boot that's got a bunch of shit all over it, these boots look better with cow shit on them than any other boots out there. I think that's pretty obvious.
Once again, a great boot. And that boot is Brunt.
They've reinvented comfort.
Jim, let's let the listeners know a lot of people are out there working. Where can they get boots that they can use?
Can they save money? That's why they're working, because they need to make money. Well, God damn it, we can save you money so you don't have to work as hard. But if you didn't need to work as hard, you wouldn't need the goddamn boots. It's a catch-22. So right now, while you're working, get $10 off at Brunt by using the code JCE at checkout. Brunt, B-R-U-N-T, because they bear the brunt of the punishment. Bruntworkwear.com. Use the promo code JCE. I'm being silly, but they're just lovely boots. I can't wait to wear these boots. And it won't stop raining, so I can go out and do some yard work while wearing the boots.
Put on the hat.
It's still not going to. It's what the hat doesn't put an instant goddamn cone around me to where I will not be soaked by the rain.
It'll keep the rain out of your eyes, out of the glasses.
No, it would not. If the wind is blowing, it'd be saying you don't wear a baseball cap to goddamn keep the rain out of your face on a fucking stormy day.
Is it windy? Is it really windy?
Well, it's going to be when it's raining.
All right. Well, no hypotheticals needed here. You need a good boot.
So basically, what I'm trying to tell you without further ado is if you want to kick somebody up under the chin until their eyeballs roll around in their head like chiclets, you put on your Brunt work boots and you save $10 at the same time going to bruntworkwear.com and using the promo code JCE. And that way you won't slip, you won't get wet, you won't get hurt, and they feel so good.
Is it a real deal, folks? Jim wouldn't say he liked them if he didn't. Brunt. One more time, Jim. What's that?
Apparently, from everything I've been saying so far today, that's been established that I'm not going to just tell you what you want to hear. But bruntworkwear.com. Use the promo code JCE, $10 off, and save your footsies. Your tootsies deserve it.